Test. 1 2 1 2. How we do? Original 202 Don City Sun with my man Milton Akers in the building, and of course Big Greg, Mr. Wednesday morning 6 to 8. Good vibrations.
Yeah, it is.
Is the show. Understand that, recognize and realize that 6 to 8. Good vibrations. Big Greg on the microphone, and of course the two-time deployee, combat veteran, hero citizen, Mr. Milton Akers. Thank you again for being here. And I have communicated with our other dear brother, Mr. Bernie the Renaissance Radio Man, and he is, again, what's a good way of saying it, taking care of some official duties. And he has asked us to remain in his stead. And we're gonna get telephone contact with him, and he's gonna actually call it in, as they say. You know. So let's try to get him on the telephone. Can we, brother?
Let me see.
Actually, you know what? Let's take a quick break now that you know what's going to go down. We'll be back in 3 minutes.
All right.
We'll get him on the phone.
Joe, can you play your little bit over there? Come on. Pee-wee. St. Clair, I'm not going to ask you to play, Jack, because your horn is too big. And you got too much horn over there. Give me a little extra stroke there, country, so I know you playing guitar. Yeah. St. Clair, since you from Augusta, Georgia, like I am, let me hear you play your baritone. You got to have some soul. Right about, yeah. Now, right now. All right. All right. Get it. Now, fellas, now just ease out of it. That's right, you keep playing, Maceo, because the groove is there. Now, I'll tell you what I want you to do. Now, when I say hit it, I want you to hit it. You hear me, Jabbo? You hear me, Bernard? But when I say quit it, I want you to quit it. You ready? Hit it! Hit it! Quit it! Well, it's like you got a bad night tonight. But you're gonna be mellow, I know you're all right. Have another. No, it'll be cool. All right. You ready? Yeah. Now, hit it. Come on. Quit it. But I got tired and quit on us. All right. Yeah, so you still got the groove. You still got the groove. Bring it up. Bring it up. Come on. Bring it up. Bring it up now. Bring it up. Engineer, can you cut this thing down? Fade me on out of here, because I got to leave anyway. Fade it on out, I'm going.
Turned on me, and it opened my eyes to see that you are the one for me, and the value of you is beyond what money can buy. Your kiss is so refreshing, my heart is never dry. Even though I struggle, heaven's ghetto. You go, no, no, always be a part of my life. When said, oh, love, We had no furniture, just a color TV and a comforter, some pillows, and we both so happy. And we stuck it out to get us now more than what we had, which ain't much. Things can be worse. Thank God I can't be mad. In the struggle, beautiful in the ghetto. Never let go. Nights will always be part of my life. All I see is you in the sky. Oh my, and yours are we. No matter, you are my baby. You are my baby. I'll never give you up. Oh, I'm still your baby. I know we'll make it through. I know. I'll be here by your side. Right here. Baby, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. My arms I love you. I love you. I love you. All I see is the sky. Oh my, your sweet tone. In your arms is where I wanna be. Oh, in the sky. Oh my.
Test. Back with Renaissance Radio with your stand-in for our man with the plan, Mr. Bernie Seiler.
I'm cut off. Let me get you back up. Let's see. Bernie, that's Bernie again.
Bernie, we're going to do a signal check, brother.
All right, hey, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Indeed, I can.
Okay. Well, I'm good.
All
All
right.
right, Noop, I'm here with you.
All right, Noop. Hey, pleasure as always. Thanks for working this complex schedule that the Renaissance man had.
Roger that.
Okay. All right. Well, Renaissance. I know
Yes,
you.
sir.
I know you're busy, man. You probably got to get back out to that beach in the French Riviera. So we're not gonna keep you that long. We're gonna get right. No. We're gonna get right to it. Look, what I had in mind, which I think you might be interested in. What I want to do is your show. Now you have the authority to tell me, you know, if this is amenable with you or not. But what I was thinking about, we'll give you a quick, as they say, executive summary of what we discussed in the previous 2 hours on my show. And
Yes,
then
sir.
and you can maybe weigh in if you feel like it on some stuff, and then or anything else that you have. And then I'd like to ask you, as a esteemed historian, about today in history, and specifically the heroic deeds of a certain group of black sailors that won medals in a battle that took place around this time in history in the past. Is that okay with you, sir?
You have summarized Renaissance man's desires perfectly, and I defer to you and your sound judgment. Did I lay it on thick enough?
And I wanted to also let you know, you probably know this, but we have the one and only Big Brother Greg of Good Vibrations Radio from 6 to 8 a.m. on Wednesdays on this dynamic platform. Sitting to my right, Mr. Big Greg is in here today.
You hear me?
All
My
right.
man Greg, My
And,
man Greg.
All right.
and also we have our frequent visitor and subject matter expert on things military, law enforcement, and his wife came today on the occasion of her birthday, and she calls him the Doctor of Love. Milton Akers is in the building too, brother Renaissance man.
All right,
Well,
that
well,
sounds, man.
And greetings, Mr. Akers, and even more special greetings to General Akers.
There we go. There we go. Okay, brother Renaissance, and for our listening audience, just in case there's any confusion, on the other line is a person who would normally be sitting in this seat that I'm sitting in. I'm just facilitating his discourse here because he is out and about on official duties. The Renaissance man, Renaissance radio man, Bernie Seiler is doing his show via call-in. So, Bernie, just say hello to our listening audience so we know exactly what's going on here, sir.
Absolutely. Renaissance man here, and as I always tell my listening audience, don't miss the show. And even if Renaissance man isn't physically sitting where you can see him, his able support staff is right there. Brother Andre from the Veterans Report, and certainly Brother Milton Akers, who brings a lot of knowledge and interesting conversation, and Engineer Greg. Everybody's here. You just don't physically see Renaissance man, but he's here.
Roger that. Roger that. Okay, Renaissance. So listen, this is what I wanted. This is what I talked about. You may or may not feel comfortable chiming in, but I spent pretty much the majority of our time talking about a topic that resonated very heavily with me since I saw this happen last week. I believe it was last week during the Democratic National Convention. And what I talked about a lot was Brother Captain Khan, the fallen Muslim hero, combat leader, whose parents spoke on the occasion of the Democratic National Convention. And I
Yes,
also
sir. Excellent topic.
Yes,
Excellent
sir.
topic.
And I also talked, I did something that I very rarely do, which is wade a little bit into the political goings on in America, because I felt like, and I'm usually very clear about stating that on my radio show, I don't make it a political platform, and I seldom comment on the politics of the presidential election. I haven't endorsed anyone, at least not on the radio, and I generally leave that out there. However, Mr. Donald Trump, by putting the names and the sacrifices and some of the other stuff that he's done, you know, he's spoken disrespectfully about John McCain in the past, as you know, combat leader, prisoner of war, combat wounded veteran.
Yeah.
He's talked about, you know, he spoke about this fallen soldier's family. So I kind of condemned him, and I kind of, I just expressed my unhappiness with, you know, and I juxtaposed his, you know, seeking deferments and being successful in securing deferments when his time came, yet speaking so recklessly about the service and sacrifice of others. So we talked about that on the show. Did we talk about anything else? Or did we talk? No, that's pretty much what we talked mostly about the show. And I read some articles from that. I read an article about Khan, brother Captain Khan, may he rest in peace. And I read another article that a professor wrote in the New York Times. It was an op-ed piece about, he calls himself a draft dodger because, you know, he got a letter saying that he couldn't go, and he didn't go, but he was just saying that even as a draft dodger, the way that, you know, or evader, whatever you want to call it, he's American, so he's a professor, but he's just saying the way that he deals with his life and his uh, his time after not going to Vietnam is just so drastically different than someone like a Donald Trump. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's what we talked about on the show, and you can feel free to not talk about it, but that's what we talked about today, brother.
Well, no, absolutely, and that's an excellent topic, and I can see how that could have filled the vast majority of your show. Now, let me say this. Now, listeners, I know Brother Andre well, and what he said is entirely true, that he doesn't, at least on the show, he doesn't get into all kind of political positions, and he probably wouldn't publicly condemn a candidate or overly support a particular candidate. However, he will exercise his 15th Amendment rights come November and vote his conscience. But for Andre to say that he had to take a position on this, that merely illustrates how outlandish those comments were that the Republican nominee made. We're all veterans. Me, Brother Milton, and Andre were veterans, and that's basically an insult to all of us, because any of us could have been thrust in a position where we put our lives in jeopardy to save our fellow soldiers. And I dare say that some of us may have not done that. Now, what Brother Khan did. And for this man to sit there and disparage him and disparage his parents is an outrage. The one telling aspect of that whole presentation by the serviceman's father was the fact that he held up a pocket version of the U.S. Constitution and challenged that Donald Trump had probably never read it. And if I had to bet money, I'm not a betting man, I'd be willing to bet you that Donald Trump has never read it.
No, he did not.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was completely an outrage on the part of Mr. Trump, and a very compelling presentation on the part of Mr. Khan, and just to show the additional bigotry of the candidate and perhaps some of his constituents, as opposed to taking in what the man was saying. He's sitting there talking about, well, how come the wife didn't speak? What does that have to do with it? Did you deal with what the husband said? The wife didn't have to say anything. Oh, it's probably because in the culture she isn't allowed to speak. So let's go out on a limb and say, suppose that is the case. If that's his custom and that's his religion, that's all the more reason a man needs to read the Constitution, because last I checked, First Amendment says freedom of religious practice. So what does that have to do with it? Renaissance man got a little impassioned about that. So
Okay.
That's my take on it.
All
And,
right, brother.
The first thing I felt, that doesn't make their son any less dead, whether she was allowed to speak or not.
Right, right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Nor does it take anything from his service.
Yes, he was a dedicated American soldier.
Right.
And so, consequently, it remains to be seen how this election plays out in light of commentary like that. We've always said that this election is going to be very telling insofar as the pulse of the American people. How far we've come or how far we haven't come as a people insofar as being tolerant, etc. And if the candidate is making comments like that and he still has a substantial number in November, then that is a telling statement. My only hope, without giving away, I guess everybody can probably assume from Renaissance Man, and I'm in Donald Trump's camp, right? So if there's a close election, that is very telling. I just hope that that it's close and no cigar, so to speak.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But fill me in, Andre. Any other
That,
point you guys made on that, and I will
yeah,
further comment if
that
appropriate.
was the main thing, and I just we talked about just this guy, man, and just, like I said, I had held my tongue on him because, like I said, I don't want to get involved, but you got. Oh, and the other thing we talked about also is I have a point that is a way I said it is that for a veteran, I said to my fellow veterans who stand next to Donald Trump and support him, I said we have to be very judicious, sober, and vigilant about who we associate our honorable records of service with as veterans. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I said you got to be sober about that, and when you stand next to this guy that's denigrating veterans, you know, you just got to be careful. You know, I don't just associate, just like Coca-Cola or Pepsi or AT&T or whoever, man, eLife Media. You don't just associate your brand with anybody. You know what I mean? You just don't do that, and it's disheartening to me to see so many veterans. And you know, I played something on my show. Some reporters had compiled audio from Trump rallies and Trump, people who got together to support this guy, like at events and stuff. And the epithets and the racial slurs and the ugliness that was trumpeted by this group of people would make a normal person want to say, well, I'm not going to associate myself with that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I talked about that as well. What else did I mention? Anything else?
No, it's just those. That sounded like a gathering of hate groups.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounded like a Klan rally, straight up. I mean,
Yeah.
he even made references in there to back in the day they would have been dragged out on a stretcher, and all I could think of was the bus boycotts and the sit-ins.
Or even now, the Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, I mean, but you know, the sit-ins, when people go into those restaurants and they weren't to be served, you know, I read stories about how some of those people come out, they'd have to get reconstructive surgery on their faces because the people were so nasty on the inside. They beat them down, pour food on them, hot coffee and all types of stuff, and that's what I felt listening to that group of people talking at the Donald Trump rally.
Well,
Yes,
you know, one of our illustrious members of Congress, members of the Black Caucus, John Lewis, has bore personal witness to some of those sit-ins and describes a severe beating he took as he protested as a young man. He frequently tells that story. So we have some living witnesses of that era.
Yeah.
And Andre, I'll say this before calling in to you guys. I had come across a report that ties in with our veterans' concerns. And I know in the past you've talked about, and I think I've talked about it with you, and that's the high rate of veteran suicide. I just heard a report that says that on average, and I hope I heard this correctly because it's a very telling thing, but it says veterans are averaging 20 suicides per day. Now, I don't know if it sounded a little inflated, but I think I heard and read it correctly. And I just think about one of the other points that they made is the fact that these are not necessarily veterans who served in combat and or necessarily veterans who deployed. And there was a disproportionate number of young soldiers and sailors between 18 and 25, and the vast majority were not those who had been exposed to combat and not necessarily PTSD. So I thought that was an interesting report, and it ties in a little bit with what we're talking about, because now we're talking about a man who's disparaging the service and the contributions of veterans, and now veterans are suffering from some syndrome that is leading to suicide, and this man is still disparaging veterans.
Yeah.
And I'd ask Milton. Milton, I know in the past we've discussed that. Are you aware of that or any other stats that have to do with veterans' high rates of suicide?
No, I wasn't aware of that particular stat. I do remember a few years back they talked about. I remember hearing 13 suicides a day.
Okay.
But I'm not surprised now that with someone that may become the commander in chief, with soldiers, that's got to be frightening to them as well. Because they're certainly going to end up in some other conflicts if he was the next commander in chief.
Yeah, I don't think one of his strong points is diplomacy.
No,
no.
far from it.
Yeah, so and which ties in to another aspect of the office of the presidency. I mean, the presidency is not just being witty enough to hurl insults at people, you know, because one day he's going to have to sit down with our boy in North Korea, or he's going to have to send his Secretary of State, you know, representing his administration to talk to some less than democratically minded country, you know, who doesn't have this Constitution that he's neglected to read. And I know I'll go back a little further than some of you guys, but back in the 60s, there was a significant scare where the Russians had set up missiles in Cuba. And I remember the Washington Post had a diagram showing missile bases in and around Havana, and there were a bunch of concentric circles on this map in the Washington Post, and each circle showed a mileage distance. And it showed 90 miles to Key West, maybe 100 miles to Miami. And this circle spread all the way up to New York City, and of course Washington was right in it. And of course that crisis got dispelled largely by the diplomacy of President Kennedy. But I remember we had air raids, drills in the schools. There was shelters, and that's when they started doing air raid shelters. But my point is this: a crisis like that could emerge any time. And fortunately, President Kennedy, with advisors and level-headed advisors and a level-headed administration, and he being level-headed, quelled the situation. And I remember the day that the Russians withdrew the weapons from Cuba, and I remember my elementary school teacher saying, okay, you know, the danger's over and all like that. But I just cringe to think of a crisis like that coming up. And that was more than just a notion. I mean, that was, somebody could have pushed the button any moment, and within a few seconds, the city of Washington could have been blown off the map. Okay? I hate to think of a situation like that emerging again and having this clown as the commander-in-chief.
Right. Yeah,
So this election bears more than just a popularity contest. This could be the difference between survival of this country and not. So just another point that ties in.
Yeah, man. It's just there's a lot of stuff going on right now, boy.
Yeah, they don't understand it's far more than selecting someone to just run the United States.
Exactly.
You have to. He's going to have to be able to negotiate, and sometimes you take a little less to get a little bit more. Donald Trump's not going to know how to do that.
At 70, he's about 70 years old. He acts like a 7-year-old in his conversation. And I can't imagine a 7-year-old negotiating
Yeah,
with
whenever he doesn't get his way.
Right. Having a fit with the head of state or a prime minister or president of another country.
Did you hear? I can't remember exactly, but after he made the comment about the Muslim, is it Khan?
Captain Khan.
Yeah,
Captain Khan.
Captain Khan. After he made the comment about that, I think he said he wanted to punch Bloomberg.
Oh, wow.
He's so
Okay.
short. I would like to punch him. And he wants to be the president of the
Right.
United States.
and saying things like that, yeah. I can only imagine a State of the Union address.
Yeah.
Well,
Brother
his
Renaissance,
constituents will probably join in.
Brother Renaissance, like I said, I try to be disrespectful. I try to be respectful, man. But this guy is a clown, man, and it's just wow. All I can say is wow.
Fortunately for us, there is a Constitution, and most of us have read it or at least know what it says. And the First Amendment does give us a right to say the things we're saying,
That's right.
Yeah.
notwithstanding what Mr. Trump thinks.
Okay, well, listen, we're gonna come back to some of these topical issues. You want to take a break, or we good? We good? How you doing?
Well, I'm doing fine, but I'll tell you what. Why don't you guys just take a break, and Renaissance Man might have a couple of things to throw out at you
And we're
during
gonna
the break.
get into the historical business.
Yes, sir.
I want to ask about what we would do. I hope you had a chance to ruminate on that, and you can then expound upon it when we come back. Putting you on the spot, or we decent?
Yeah, we're decent, but I need a minute to ruminate, as you say, and I will ruminate.
Roger that. Are you going to stand by, or we're going to call you back? You going to stand by?
I'm going to stand by.
Roger
Okay?
that, sir. We'll talk to you in a moment, brother.
All right.
Renaissance Radio Report with Bernie Seiler. We're going to roll out and roll back in and reconnect with the Renaissance Man.
To show just how I feel. If I could change the way I live my life today, I wouldn't change a single thing. 'Cause if I changed my world into another place, I wouldn't see your smiling face. I'll always be there, and I'll always care. Honey, don't you worry. There's nothing to worry for. 'Cause if I didn't love you, I wouldn't be here now. And if I didn't want you, I would have turned around by now. You've got to believe me, baby. Believe that I love you so. 'Cause if I didn't love you, I would have turned around. And if I didn't want you, then I would want you out. Ooh, this love has filled me up. Ooh, my love, I'll never give you up. 'Cause I'll always want your love. If I could change the way I live my life today, I wouldn't change a single thing.
Test. This is your host, Dodge Citizen, standing in for the Renaissance Radio man, Mr. Bernie Seiler. Again, I got my man Big Greg on the right. Good Vibrations, Wednesdays from 6 to 8. Check them out. And then on my left, my man Milton Agers, dear brother, friend. What do we call it? American hero, as they say. You know what I mean? Two-time combat deployed survivor and combat leader. Went once with me and then he went another time, and both times he did the thing down range. You know what I mean? She's out of the picture, but it's his lovely wife's birthday. She is in the studio, so it's a good thing going on here. But most importantly, we've got the Renaissance Radio man on the line. He is so committed to this dynamic platform that he facilitates every week on Thursdays from 1 o'clock until 3 o'clock, that he's calling it in. Brother Renaissance, are you there?
I am here, and thanks for the wonderful preface.
All right. Well, we're going to roll right into it, man. We want to know from you about this day or around this day, sometime in history, something notable that happened, I believe, with a group of U.S. sailors. Can you expound, brother? Am I being specific enough?
You're being just specific enough not to steal Renaissance Man's thunder.
Roger
like
that. So with that,
okay.
I'm going to zip it up, and we're just going to listen, brother.
Well, sounds good. Hey, listen, thanks for the intro. Renaissance Man is not physically at the studio today, but my dedication always requires me to call in if necessary. Business takes me out of the area sometimes. And Andre correctly summarized what I want to talk about. Renaissance Man always has some historical event that occurred on or around a particular date of his show, and particularly when there's African-American history involved. Now, this is a situation where, in the summer of 1864, the Civil War was in full bloom, and down in Mobile, Alabama, and actually it would be on the 5th of August, which is tomorrow, 1864, one of the most significant battles in the naval action between the Confederates and the Union took place. And one of the more prominent admirals became the hero of that battle, Admiral David Farragut, the hero of the Battle of Mobile Bay. But he would not have become a hero were it not for the brave actions of at least two African-American sailors. Now, here's the scenario. The harbor at Mobile, Alabama was guarded by a fort, Fort Morgan. And in order to capture the port city of Mobile, a Union flotilla would have to somehow silence the guns of Fort Morgan. Then they would be able to steam up the Mobile River into Mobile Bay and capture the city of Mobile. At this stage of the game, the Union battle strategy was to capture all of the Confederate seaports. Now, they had captured New Orleans early on in the war in 1862. The blockade had pretty much stranglehold Charleston and other port cities along the coast, Savannah. Wilmington, North Carolina was still open, and ultimately that would be the last one to fall later on that next winter. But in the meantime, the task at hand was to capture Mobile Bay and close that port. A fleet led by Admiral David Farragut, and his flagship was the USS Hartford. And it was accompanied by several other warships, among whom several African-American sailors served. The Confederates had this habit of putting mines in the harbor. And in the 1860s, they referred to them as torpedoes. Not the torpedoes that we talk about nowadays that fly out of the base of a submarine and sink ships from a distance. The torpedoes were little more than landmines, except they were in the water. And whenever a Confederate port was captured or it was threatened, they would place mines in the water, and of course, any Union warship that encountered a mine would be blown up and the ship sunk, and thus defeating the raid that was being placed at the time. Now, the torpedoes had mined the harbor of Mobile, and Fort Morgan opened fire on Admiral Farragut's fleet. And, you know, in all these wars and different aspects of American history, a lot of people holler out famous quotations.
Okay.
John Paul Jones in the Revolutionary War says, when the British asked him to surrender, he said, "We have just begun to fight."
Oh,
And George Washington apparently hollered out some things at some of his famous battles. And, well, David Farragut is famous for a slogan that was shouted at the Battle of Mobile Bay, where someone warned him of the torpedoes in the harbor. And on that hot summer day, August 5th, 1864, Farragut was heard to say, "Damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead." So his fleet continued up through Mobile Bay. The Confederates had some warships that were formidable. The CSS Tennessee had a ram on the end of it, which is like a long spear. And once it rammed a Union ship below the waterline, it would sink. Well, the Tennessee had done much damage to the Union fleet. But Farragut's flagship, the Hartford, came in close contact with the Tennessee, and a black landsman, which is a Navy rank at the time, manned the guns and began to fire at the Tennessee. A shell from the Tennessee exploded on the deck of the Hartford, and John Lawson, the black sailor, was thrown and knocked unconscious against the wall. He regained his composure, went back to the guns. It kept firing and firing and firing until the CSS Tennessee ran up this white flag. Another black sailor was on another Union warship, and he continued to fire at the Confederate fleet. And finally, after several hours of battle, the Confederate fleet was defeated. John Lawson and another black sailor in that same battle won the Congressional Medal of Honor. 2 of 4 African-American sailors to win the National Medal of Honor for bravery in the Navy, not to mention several who won it in the Army. So on August 5th, 1864, was a day of pride for African-Americans. That summer, starting in June, 2 formidable Confederate ships had been sunk. In June, the Alabama, which had been sinking a lot of Federal ships and stealing cargoes, was caught off the coast of the English Channel. And Renaissance Man talked about this back in June, and a black sailor by the name of Joaquin Peace won the Medal of Honor for his contribution in sinking the Alabama. So just a few weeks later, in Mobile Bay, John Lawson and another black sailor also won the coveted award for helping to sink the formidable Tennessee. And ultimately, Mobile was captured. And once Mobile was captured, most of the Confederate ports became under Union control, and it was just a matter of time, a domino effect. New Orleans had fallen, Mobile had fallen, Pensacola had fallen, Charleston had fallen, and then by the time you get to January of 1865, Wilmington finally fell because there was a fort by the name of Fort Fisher, which was the mouth of the Cape Fear River, is where the Wilmington, North Carolina is. And in order for that city to be captured, Fort Fisher had to fall. And a black regiment, the 27th United States Colored Troops, were the ones that finally took the surrender of Wilmington. So all of the key Confederate ports that fell in the last year of the Civil War can, in large part, be attributed to the role of black soldiers and sailors. So that's Renaissance Man's fiery and adrenaline-laced report of what black soldiers and sailors did around this time in 1864.
Wow, man.
Once again,
That's
Renaissance Man gives it to us.
Exactly.
Good gracious, brother. You just shine the light of history, man, and enlightenment on brothers. Appreciate you.
Well, you know how hard it was holding this until today.
Oh, man.
I was telling everybody that would listen until today.
There you go.
Yeah.
I wish you could have told Trump.
Well, if I ever get a chance to speak to him one-on-one, I will. But I don't know if my adrenaline would allow me to have a calm,
There we go.
reasonable discussion with an unreasonable person.
Right.
Oh,
I'm sure he not only did not read the Constitution, he's so unaware of American history because he doesn't care.
Right.
Well, right.
Just
Well, there you
have to,
go.
I guess. In a different tax bracket.
Yeah.
Mm.
So that's the way it was. And Renaissance Man appreciates Brother Andre from the Veterans Report staying around. Now, Andre, I have a potential call in to a comrade of mine who lives on the West Coast, and if we can reach him by phone, and after the next break, I'm going to talk to Greg and see if we can reach him. And unless you guys have something else to contribute, I want to just give my appreciation for you standing in. But Renaissance Man doesn't need your support anymore, but you're certainly welcome to stay, and I'm going to try to reach the brother. He's going to talk a little bit about his experience with some of the topics that Milton and Renaissance Man and the other brother was here a few times in the
Brother
last couple of
Harrison?
weeks.
Yes.
Yes, about the harassment and how the police have targeted African American men. So I'm going to suggest that we take a small break right now, and I'm going to talk to Greg about seeing how we can get that going.
Roger
that.
Okay, sir. Well, good talking to you. So just for clarification for our listening audience,
Yes, sir.
you're going to stay on and continue to call in, but you're releasing Dodge Citizen from his official duties.
I'm releasing Dodge Citizen a well-earned release.
And for clarity, to our listening audience, you may have another very knowledgeable and compelling guest who Brother Greg is going to patch in, so both of you guys will be talking. And that is something you can do, right, brother?
Yeah, I was actually going to tell you, Bernie, the best way to do that is to call him on three-way on your phone and then
Right.
call in the station again.
We'll do that.
Okay.
So that's what's going to happen to the listening audience out there. And this is Dodge Citizen signing out, and we'll look forward to seeing the brother Renaissance Man, at least I will, in person next week, right? You scheduled to be here, correct? Next week?
Absolutely. We'll be there live and in living color next week.
Yes, and people who know this platform, they know about that dynamic 1-2 punch or 2-1 punch. You got Dodge Citizen, and then you got the Renaissance Man. If you're not glowing after that 4 hours, then you need to get your system checked.
Right.
Brother Renaissance, I'm out, brother. I'm going to be listening to you in my vehicle, because, as you know, you can listen to the eLife platform via TuneIn Radio or on the internet. So I'll be listening, brother, to continue to get my knowledge light brightened up. All right, man?
Always a
Yes,
pleasure,
sir.
Renaissance Man.
And I appreciate Milton, appreciate Andre, and a special greeting and happy birthday to General Akers, who shares a birthday with our president, by the way.
Yes, indeed. Selena Agers, we salute you. All right, big brother.
Okay. See you guys.
It must be like this, girl. The sweet and sour taste of love we just made. A cool place in the shade. A glass of lemonade. Don't be afraid.
Yes. Taste of love, we just made a cool place in the shade. A glass of champagne, your lips are brave. Yeah. I go insane. Heaven must be like this. Life is about evolving and growing, elevating, constant growth, like green leaves. I dedicate this to the children. Yeah. Mama told me a wise man leads and never takes shorts to follow. And what's done right here in the here and now always affects tomorrow. It's like cause and effect, simple mathematics, like 1 + 1 makes 2. See the bed that we make, that's where we got the lay. So be wise of the path we choose and keep growing, yeah. Keep on growing, yeah. Like green leaves and habits, you got to see it, to talk it, you got to be it. There's no if, no ands, on buts. If you claim it, you can't obtain it. What was made shall be, and that's the law of the universe. That's the universal law. Channel your light, use insight, and remember you're a precious gift. We are precious. Take the good with the bad, the tears with the laughs, and always be positive and keep growing. Oh, keep growing now. Keep on, keeping on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Growing, growing, keep on growing. Keep on growing like we need. I know it gets hard sometimes, but I know it gets hard. You gotta keep your head up, you know. There's always sunshine after the rain, right? Hey, sister girl, brother on the corner. Yeah, you. It's gonna be alright. Just gotta keep growing. Green leaves, like green leaves.
Of all mankind, turning straight without a chaser, like trained to motivator, bringing on new dimensions to fundamental vibes, unfolding revelations from a universal source, deep awareness for the wonders of the world, people yearning for the learning, positive with life's concerning, optimistic in the quest for peace, so detach yourself from stress and ignite the cultural fuel. We're standing in the front line with the message clear for all. Come in search of wisdom, the inspiration, information. Listen and learn. Talking loud and saying something about the way we live our lives today. Talking loud and saying something. Revelations from a rising generation. Built on solid ground foundation, complete with soul seduction. Come together, elevate your mind. What have we got? If not each other, you can lean on me, my brother. We got clear intentions on planetary vibes. Detach yourself from stress, ignite the cultural fuel. We're standing in the front line with a message clear for all. Here in search of wisdom, the inspiration, information. Listen and learn. Talking loud and saying something, yeah, about the way we live our lives today. Talking loud and saying something, yeah. Revelations from a rising generation. Talking loud, saying something, yeah, about the way we live our lives today. Yeah. Talking loud and saying something. Revelations from a rising generation. Talking loud, oh yeah, about the way we live our lives today. Talking loud and saying something. Revelations from a rising generation. Talking loud and saying something. Yeah, ooh yeah. We're talking loud and saying something. Revelations from a rising generation.
Hey man, what's happening? What's happening?
going down, baby?
What's going on? Thing trying to, make ends meet.
Yeah.
Trying to make ends meet, man. How you been? Right on, right on. Got the kid.
Ain't no room to live by. Ain't no one to ask why. Ain't no easy answer.
Gotta get out of here.
Hope is the spread like cancer. No answer. Ain't no room for all we. Yeah. And some of us here are not going anywhere. Ain't no place to come. Yeah, he went and sent us the first storm, and I bet it's thrown where I'm from. Where I'm coming from. Where I'm from. You don't know. I'm coming from. You don't know how hard it is. Where I'm from. You don't know just where I live. Where I'm coming from. You don't know how hard it is. Where
say on your mind. It's funny how some moments hang in time. I remember when we met, how we became good friends, but I don't remember when you started to go astray, and for what reason that you finally went away. Why did you leave me? If it were anyone else, I could cut all my ties, but you're a part of my life, and it's starting to feel like everywhere I go, I hear your name, and I play it off like things are the same, pretending to know the reason why, that it's not. Oh. I haven't seen you, I just don't know what I said. We used to spend time, we used to be fine. You had my heart, now we don't even talk like we used to. Baby, this is not what I'm used to. Tell me, where did it go? I'd do anything to know that it was not all in vain, and there is a reason that you went away. Everywhere I go, everywhere I go, it all like things are the same, pretending to know the reason why, that it's not. What happened, baby? What happened, honey, to the way things used to be? Baby, what happened? Baby, what happened, honey, to the way things used to be? Way we used to be. I tried over and over again to get some understanding, so I can know where we're standing. So what happened, baby? What happened, honey, to the way things used to be? What happened to our love? I can't love. Please tell me to the way things used to be. Somebody tell me. Oh, what happened, way we used to be. Yeah, baby, baby, baby. I really hate the way you treat me. I just can't take. You've got me losing sleep. I'm so confused about the way I feel. I find myself loving you still. Nothing has changed. Things are the same. Things are the same. They ain't gonna change. Oh no. of the time I need a man who will be all mine. I need to let it go, oh baby. Things are never gonna change. Nothing has changed. I really miss you. I needed you in my life. I gave you all of my loving, boy. But you didn't wanna treat me right. I really need you. So now I'm moving on. I gotta make something out of my life. I gotta find somebody new. They're always gonna be the same.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen. 1, 2. You need to pick your Afro daddy because it's flat on one side. You need to pick your Afro daddy because it's flat on one side. What are you waiting on? Dun, dun. Well, if you don't pick your Afro, you're gonna have one side high. Well, you said you was gonna take me to see Wu-Tang, baby. So I braided my hair. Well, yes you did. Yeah, said you was gonna take me to see Wu-Tang, baby. So I braided my hair. Yes I did. Cornrowed and everything, baby. Well, you changed your mind and said we wasn't going, but my mama saw you there. Yes, she did. Check this out. One time. Will I be blowing up your pager, daddy? But you never call me back. Well, I'll be putting in that 1-1, baby, but you never call me back. No, no. See if you don't know how to use that page, daddy, I'm gonna take that hoe back.
Glass, there.
show here at eLife Media, and we're back on the line. We've got Bernie, the Renaissance Man. Bernie, can you hear me? Hello? Bernie, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, there you go.
You hear me okay?
Yep, I hear you loud and clear.
All right.
Perfect. So I'm understanding you were having trouble getting your guest on the line.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, that's understandable. It happens in radio, and we just have to move on, and maybe we can get them on next week.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah. Are we on yet? Or not?
Yeah, we're on.
Okay, we're on. Okay, yeah. So Renaissance Man back. The engineer and I had my constituency waiting, and I have to apologize. I had a guest that was lined up who was out in the Bay Area of California, and because of technology, I haven't been able to reach him or he reached me. But he was going to share some insight into some of the topics that Renaissance Man has been talking about over the last few weeks, and that's specifically to do with some of the late news about how unarmed black men are being targeted by the police, and he has some personal experiences he's going to share with us. So hopefully I'll be able to catch up with him in time for next week's show. And as you know, this is an abbreviated show. Renaissance Man was out of the area. But the Veterans Report, man, Andre filled in for me. We had a little discussion earlier. So we'll have a full show next week. Renaissance Man will be back. And as usual, I appreciate all the listeners. Don't miss it. Renaissance Man always has something good to talk about. So until next week, signing out. And thanks, of course, to Engineer Greg. And make sure you listen to his show, Good Vibrations, on Wednesday morning.
Thank you.
Out of here from the Renaissance Man.
All right. Thank you, Bernie. Always a pleasure working with you. I'm going to go ahead and turn the music up for the people.
Sounds good. And it's a pleasure working with you as well, sir.
All right. Thank you. You have a great day.